It's kind of hard to explain this guy, except, I don't know, to say, of all the people I've met in my life, he is both the most insane and brilliant at the same time. He is the first person to have walked to the South Pole and walked to the North Pole in history. Now, when I say walked, I mean walk. And he'll tell you about it. With that, Sir Robert Swan.
Thanks very much, Rob. Well, good morning, everybody. You'll understand why I'm carrying this bloody thing around all day by the end of my talk. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story this morning, so all relax. And it's a story about dreams and follow through. Dreams and follow through. Now, this began for me at the age of 11 when my father, who was quite fond of whiskey, woke me up in the middle of the night saying, "Robert, come downstairs, boy, there's two men standing on the moon." And I thought, but I went downstairs and Dad was right. And I was hugely inspired by running outside looking at the moon, but realized my limitations, that I'd have to do something on Earth. And the dream was, as Rob kindly said, and let's get this straight, I am actually the first person in history stupid enough to have walked to both poles. Let's get that clear. And this was the dream. And after massive amounts of fundraising, getting my life together, three of us started walking on the longest unassisted march ever made anywhere on Earth in history. No radio communications, no backup, 80 days of food and fuel, aiming for one building about the size of this room, the South Pole Scientific Station. We'd have to cross 6,000 crevasses as we walked. We had no ladders or rescue, so the point was, if you fell in, you hoped you'd die, because it would be a tricky day to be looking up at your mate saying bye-bye and not be able to get out of that crevasse. Part of our success was to have true trust in each other. And all of us are on a great journey. And to be successful on that journey, we must trust each other 100%. Then we walk across an area of Antarctica the size of the United States of America. And we're the only people standing there. Think of that, it's a bit lonely. And beneath our feet, 16,000 feet of solid ice. 90% of all the world's ice, we're standing on it in this picture. 70% of all the world's fresh water, we're standing on it. And mark my words, please, if we continue to melt this, we swim. Simple as that. And as we close in on the South Pole, no iPhone 7 to ring up Mummy for help. We're just hoping that our ship has returned to the Antarctic. They've unloaded an aeroplane. The plane will fly to the pole, find us, go back to base, and do something we promised to do. My patron for this was the great Jacques Cousteau. And Jacques Cousteau asked me to leave just my footprints in the snow of Antarctica, leave the continent tidy, clean, he said. It's the only place in the world that we all own. So we go back to the base, get onto our ship and leave only our footprints. Last few miles to the pole, were we on target? We were navigating with the sun, a sextant and a watch, and if we missed the pole, we're dead, but we got there. And I lost 69 pounds in body weight in 70 days. And when people say, "Rob, you're mad," well, probably I am, Rob. But when half the world's starving and the rest of us are throwing away food, what is mad? I've yet to work that one out. And as we stood there and went, yes, for 5 minutes, news came through that our ship, Southern Quest, on return to the Antarctic, had been squashed and had sunk. Fabulous news when you've walked 900 miles in 70 days. Anyhow, At this moment, there's one clear word on leadership I'd like you to think about, please. Leadership, in my humble opinion, and all of us are leaders, that if we make a commitment, we should think carefully about it. And when you make a commitment, deliver on it. Because no one's going to listen to you twice, really. And I'd made a commitment, we'd made a commitment to Jacques Cousteau to remove our equipment and garbage and rubbish. I didn't have a ship, it was a 3,000-mile swim back to New Zealand, but that wasn't going to stop us trying to deliver. It took an extra year of our lives, a team remaining in the Antarctic, over $1 million in debt. But after one extra year, I had another ship come south, picked up my team, removed all the rubbish, and did what we said we were going to do. Now, I went to the South Pole because it went down well with girls at parties. You know, I didn't do this for some big picture. But something happened to me walking to the pole that brought me here, and I'm proud for the second time to Kin Global, thank you. Because it hurt. My eyes changed color in 70 days through damage. Our faces blistered out, the skin ripped away. And this hadn't happened to the real explorers 100 years before us. So when we got home, we were told we'd walked under the hole in the ozone layer, which was discovered while we were walking there. I mean, fabulous. Ultraviolet rays down, hit the ice, bounced back, fried our faces off, burnt out our eyes. And being English, I'm a little bit slow, I have to be honest with you. But it started me thinking that maybe some of these issues about our survival on Earth aren't somebody else's problem. But first, I know there's some eminent business people here. I thought I could pay off my debts to the South Pole by walking to the North Pole. This was not the best idea. It just tripled the debt. But anyhow, off we go. To the North Pole, it is 700 miles on foot across a frozen ocean. A frozen ocean. This would be our home for 70 nights, 8 of us from 7 different nations. And this is me coming in from washing at minus 71 Fahrenheit, a bit cold. And gentlemen in the audience, you will notice clearly that there is absolutely nothing hanging down in the central area of the picture. Let's just say it's cold. So, we are now 641 miles from land. So if you want to know how that feels, go down to the beach and imagine walking 641 miles towards Africa into the middle of the Atlantic. So we're out there in the middle of a frozen ocean, and over 4 days, the entire ocean melts beneath our feet. For the first time in April in recorded history, 4 months before it ever had. And on this day, I knew that our world is a lot more powerful than we are. And we should respect it, because it'll take us down. It will. It's powerful. It's a huge battle to work your way through this sort of condition. Sorry to show you this picture first thing in the morning, but we're not some survivor discovery program where you can check into the Kimpton in the evening with nice pillows. One of our team members, Daryl from the USA, lost his heel 115 clicks out. He must keep walking. He does. And after 56 days, we got there. We did it, not me. We did it. And we flew a WE flag, which is, I think, still quite important on Earth. I went home, thought I could go and see Mum, have a cup of tea, chill out. But no, Jacques Cousteau summoned me and said, "Rob, what are you doing for the next 50 years? And he gave me 25 years ago a 50-year mission. In the year 2041, the treaty that protects Antarctica, all of us own it. It's ours. In 2041, 25 years from now, that treaty can stop. So I'm out to try my very best to support its preservation. Just at this moment, Antarctica said to us all, listen. When the famous Larsen B ice shelf disintegrated in a month, we should listen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, where was I in this? I had to think where my place was, and I think it's terribly important that all of us occasionally have a check that we're still being relevant. And I thought, how could I be relevant? Two things. One, inspire young people for the next 25 years, 50 years, so they vote to protect Antarctica. But I also realized this had to do with money. Why would we go to Antarctica? We'd go there for fossil fuels. We'd go there for energy. So I realized if we were using more clean, renewable energy here, drive the price down of clean, renewable energy, guess what? No one would go to Antarctica to exploit it because it wouldn't make financial sense per barrel of oil, ton of gas. So inspire young people as best I could and have education stations around the world only running on renewable energy. We started, and this is for teachers, we started with a base in Antarctica, and we then went to India. Anybody from India here? Excellent. I love your country. But as you know, if you went to India with a yacht, you'd end up in customs for 48 years filling in paperwork. And also, it would be irrelevant to go to India with a yacht. What's the point? And I believe follow-through has to do with sacrifice. And I've spent 4 years living in India. That's why I don't look very English-coloured. It's quite hot there. And I spent 4 years doing nearly 5,200 miles on a bicycle around India to try and be relevant to young people. And on our voyages, we went up to the Himalayas, which are melting, and built another education station at a monastery, actually, in the Himalayas, only running on renewable energy. And tomorrow, our team goes up into the Himalayas to electrify, using solar, for the first time, a village that has had never electric light, but it comes from solar. This young man was quite impressed. And on June the 10th, we open our first education station running on renewable energy here in the USA, in West Virginia, where a mountain used to be, but it went because of coal. So I'm very proud of our education station here. Every year, and Stephanie, fab, you're here. Thanks for being here. We take young people, business people, to Antarctica. And I'm back only 2 weeks ago, so when I go outside, I get rather hot, actually, here. And as I said, a lot of focus on India. I don't need to explain to you why. 1.4 billion people in India, and we need to inspire young people. Again, spent a lot of time in China, take a lot of young people from China. And ladies, I hope you're proud, because I am really proud that people don't join the dots about the Middle East as much as I believe they should. There's so much hate, misunderstanding, all this stuff. And a lot of that has to do with the fact there are 150 million unemployed young people in the Middle East. And unemployed young people, if you have no hope, you go wrong. If I hadn't had my dream, I would have gone wrong. Ask my mum. Right? Badly wrong. Badly wrong. So in order to inspire boys in the Middle East, we took girls from the Middle East. We've taken over 70 young women, fantastic women, to Antarctica, often for the first time ever from their nations, fighting men and, you know, all these difficulties to get there, but they've come. And I'm so also proud of this picture. You know, we're all in it together. And O.T. from Kuwait wearing his desert kit in my desert, perfect. And in Antarctica, we see where the ice caps are melting. When we were there 3 weeks ago, it was the hottest day in Antarctica in recorded history. We must listen. And there's so much hope in this world. I believe there's hope. This whole event, Kin Global, everything is about hope. And the hole in the ozone is fixing itself because 25 years ago, governments got together and actually stopped the use of CFC gases. It happened. So we can actually make a huge amount of difference. And ladies and gentlemen, I thought I was going to have a holiday. You know, I'm 59 years old, and I thought, you know, maybe I could go and hang out for a while, you know. But I was asked by NASA to go and see them, and they said, Rob, everybody took the Larsen B ice shelf melting seriously, but why is no one taking it seriously that these huge areas of ice are now disintegrating? They're not saying it's climate change, global warming. They're just saying they're measuring it. And these areas of ice are enormous. Enormous. And, you know, just to refresh you, ice that is already floating in water, when it melts, it doesn't raise the level in the glass. It doesn't. It melts, and the level stays exactly the same. However, what's happening in Antarctica is a whole different game. The ocean is becoming warmer. The air is becoming warmer. And these massive ice shelves, bigger than France, bigger than Texas, are breaking off, and they act as plugs. And when they go, much more ice flows into the ocean from the main Antarctic ice cap, which is on land, which will raise sea level. It's happening. And my message from the ends of the world is that we must listen and also act. Because once these plugs have gone, the main body of that ice comes into the ocean faster, because there are no corks to stop it. And guess what happens? This level of ice, which is quite a lot, will mean that we swim here. This is not, you know, we all see these maps and diagrams of climate change and sea level rise. The point is, why Rob's invited me here, is to say that there is a massive sense of urgency. It's happening. And we cannot just watch it happen. We owe more. Bit of swimming in New York City. These are only levels of 3 to 6 feet. You know, that's fine in where all the money is, but it doesn't, you know, it happens in China. It doesn't mean it's just going to happen here or in London. And what really matters, and I don't need to tell you, is what happens in nations that can't protect themselves. So what is response to challenge? What is follow-through? Well, follow-through is often you've got to make a big effort, which all of you do, but we need to step it up a bit. And I've got to go back. I don't want to go back. I thought it was all over, but no. I've got to go back and finish the journey that we started. And 30 years ago, we walked to the South Pole. We're going back to do another 650 nautical miles to complete a crossing of the entire Antarctic continent. I hope some of you have seen my best friend, Bertrand Piccard, flying across around the world in his solar plane. Terrifically brave. Technology to the edge. And we're going to follow in his footsteps by surviving only on renewable energy. I'm working, and proud to do so, working with NASA on this. It's quite hard to actually melt ice using solar without 5 tons of batteries that we've got to pull. So we're getting there, and God bless him, my son, Barney, who's 21, has volunteered to come and make this journey with his father, to look after his father, but also to be relevant to young people. And in November this year, we're going to fly into Antarctica, because I might be stupid, Rob, but I'm not completely insane. I'm working on it. I don't want to undertake this journey and it all fails, the technology. So we're going to 80 degrees south at the end of this year to test our renewable energy, and we're flying in on this big plane, and I'm proud to say I'm working with United Airlines to see how much we can get our plane to be running on biofuels. We'll be testing out all of our equipment, also testing out different types of biofuels, because, you know, young people, I'm going to sound like my father, young people today need inspiration. And what we've heard so much today and yesterday and the day before is about inspiration. But young people, and I don't blame them, are looking. Right? They're looking. And we're not giving them things that they can do. We're not. And I would like to feel that we could stop those young people, and they could actually follow through. It's no good just liking. It was great that, you know, Kerry's operation was helped by Facebook, but just liking something on Facebook isn't enough. We have to follow through more. And at the end of next year, we will make that journey on foot to the South Geographic Pole. And I'd like to end up with this, that my mum is 101 in October, and she taught me something early on in life. She said, Rob, if you want to do all these stupid things, understand one clear thing, that women have the power, and it's true. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for listening to our story, but I'd like to end with this, that I'm not an explorer, and I'm not an environmentalist, certainly, and I'm not a scientist. I'm too stupid. But you know what? I'm really good at staying alive. And a good survivor. And a good survivor, ladies and gentlemen, a good survivor does not see a perceived threat and do nothing about it. So we need to step this up, all of us. We need to step it up. So good luck to you all, and thank you very much. Thank you. Dear boy.
Nice.
Happy?
Nice. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Robert Swan. Yeah. So,
thank you.
So this is the first time we've ever had a speaker bring a backpack on stage. I guess you are always prepared. Rob, tell us, how are you getting ready for this trip?
Well, it's a bit daunting, I have to say. I'm frightened. And for any of the more senior people here, and God bless America, by the way, I'm living here now, and I have
You were living in India before, now you're living in California.
It's a bit of a shock to come to California after India, but that's another story. So basically, I have a bad hip. You can imagine I've worn myself out rather badly, and you can't have a hip replacement and then go to minus 70. So God bless American football, because I'm having a special injection. God knows what could happen, but I'm having a special injection in my hip, so I can undertake that journey. So it's a bit like, you know, we can rebuild him to do it. But Rob, why I carry this bloody thing around is that, as you know, it weighs quite a lot. And every step I take, I'm down steps. It's just strengthening myself without putting too much pressure on all the joints and stuff.
Great.
But I'm panicking, that's the honest truth.
So, Robert, we will be following your journey as we have since we met you. And thank you to Toby Redshaw and Stephanie Walcott for making that introduction. I mentioned the Ladakh station that Robert's team put up in the Himalayas. Stephanie was part of that inauguration, and they had a TEDx Ladakh in that station in the Himalayas that Stephanie spoke for, I was quite jealous at that moment, Steph. So we will be following your trip, your journey. What can we do to help?
Well, you know, I'm here in America. What can I do to help you is the question, actually. Let me help you. I'm living in California now. My son's going to business school with a very famous line saying, "Dad, somebody in the family ought to be better at business than you are." Fabulous. But I just want to say one last thing is that, you know, what happens out there, the engine room that makes all of this happen, it's a fabulous team.
It is.
That have put everything together out there to get us on stage, get the pictures there. So I'd like to thank the engine room out there, Rob, because they've done a hell of a good job. So
Great.
Good luck to you all, and thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Robert. Well done. Well done.